How would you like to make your first million? Today we have Behdad Jamshidi with us, and he started CJAM, the Marketing Connector, after realizing that most companies don't know how to evaluate the value of a marketing agency who assess their own needs. Since every business is different, not only in the needs, but where they are at in the growth process, it isn't a one size fit all. So in the past 7 years, we had OB has met with and assessed 1,071 plus marketing agency. Wow, and vetted them down to a lane of 100 plus preferred partners across all marketing niches. Wow, that's fantastic. So tell us, what are the 5 steps you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Yeah, thanks, Harry. So happy to be here. The 5 steps that I'd recommend and the ways that I followed was: one, you need to find a problem that you want to solve. Everyone talks about that. Two is then you want to iterate as you get feedback. So as you're solving that problem, whatever way you're solving it, you're iterating as you get feedback. Three is you want to be building profitably, right? Like you see a lot of people raise money, a lot of people that are putting money up front because they're like, they are worth taking the risk. But I like to build profitably right from the beginning because it puts way less stress on the business. Once you're going to have that kind of running, right? You've found a problem, you're iterating, you're building profitably. Next thing is you try to find a marketing channel that works. Typically, referrals are where most people start, but then there's others that you can expand in. And then finally, as you do that and you're getting more information coming back, you start increasing your pricing and your offers, right? As you start solving the problem, you become very good at it. Then you know that you're adding the value, and therefore you can start increasing the pricing and how you offer that to your audience.
Marketing is an expense, and I think I hear that a lot. And I remember in COVID, when things go bad, everybody said, okay, we need to cut our marketing budgets. And that was a little bit strange because I'm thinking, guys, you crazy? How come if everybody's cutting the marketing budget, especially in this online advertising, the pay-per-click, the thing goes for out of competition. The more people bidding for this word, the more expensive it is. Now everybody's not there, so actually you can do ads uh, cheap, and rather than cut the marketing budget, they should be putting the foot on the gas and amplify that, because now you can do 3 times more. Uh, so what do you think about people, companies that see marketing not as an investment, but they see it as an overhead?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the company, but for many companies, as you mentioned during COVID, maybe they stopped spending money for the first 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and then started realizing, oh, wait a second, everything's moving online. We need to move online. I had customers that only had retail stores, and they had a website up and running within a week because they knew that that's the way that they would allow their business to survive during COVID, right? But if you're a business, for example, on the B2B side, maybe you'd be spending more money on the sales portion, and that's okay. Like you can cut marketing, your sales team is still doing outcount-based marketing, just a different form of marketing, out to and getting customers. But if you're a digital-based business and you're not spending money digitally, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so marketing, that people have to think about it more of as a long-term solution, right? Like if they're paying money through Google Ads and Facebook ads, that's just advertisement. But when you're truly doing marketing, everything plays together, right? From your ads to your email marketing to the way that your brand messaging goes out there. You want to bring it all together. And as soon as you cut your marketing budget, you're reducing the amount that your brand is out there and building that story for you, right? And people don't see how that flywheel works when you do it long term.
Oh, this podcast, Product Market Fit, How to Get Your First Million. We have a challenge because the first time founders, they are very attached emotionally to the product. And all they talk is about the product. Okay, my product is amazing. This is my product. And then they spend time money and energy improving that product, thinking that number one is gonna sell by itself, and second one, without knowing that there is no this product is not the solution. That is not about the solution that you think, and it's not about the price that you think. It's about what the solution the market want to buy and how much they're willing to pay for. And if you don't get in front of them and ask them, out of the 500 millionaires that we interview in this podcast, no one has come yet to tell me, Harry, I designed this product like this, and exactly how I designed it, it works, and I became a million. I'm still waiting for that story. It was that your story? Because I'm still sitting here, no one, 500 millionaires so far, yet no one had told me, no, Harry, I thought of this, but then when I show it to people, they want to something different. I had to pivot, and then the prices, and I still pivoting and innovating. And so, uh, if I give you $100 for your startup business, how much of this money would you take to product development? And how much would you take to marketing and sales and to put in front of people? So I'm asking you this question because our founders can have an idea or a perspective how the funds can be allocated if they want to make the first million, if they really want to achieve product market fit. So what's your take on this?
I mean, that's a great question. For me, because I'm a service-based business, $100 would go into my marketing aspect because my service doesn't cost a lot to change and shift. It's essentially who I am and the connections that I make, right? So when I was building my business, where did I put my first amount of money? It was into building my foundation of my website because I knew literally all the stuff that I'm doing off of my website, going to networking events, talking to people, building connections, getting referrals. Where are they going to come back to? They're going to come back to my website. And so if that wasn't there to not break the trust, then my business wouldn't be able to build that trust ongoing, right? So 100% of my money went into the marketing piece. Obviously, outside of the legal aspects of getting a business set up, the next piece was all.
Proportional wise, like this $100 is like a metaphor, okay?
Yeah.
I can say a million.
Yeah.
If you're starting a new business right now, and I give you $1 million,
yeah,
how much of this money you will allocate to the product, and how much of this budget would you allocate to PR, marketing, sales, getting the product in front of people, listen the feedback, so you can quickly iterate and get the right product to the right price for the market. Because the problem that we have is that we have the founders and they have this product. And then because they cannot sell it, they remortgage the house to improve in the product. And then because they cannot sell it, they ask money to the friend and family to improve the product. And after they improve the product and it still is not selling, and now it's not an MVP anymore, it's an elephant. Now they go out looking for funding, and the people and the VC, the venture capital, say, guys, the investors say, guys, you don't even know how to sell this thing. You don't even have to get in front of one person. You just create your own solution, thinking, okay, this is the solution I'm going to tell you for this price, or working by yourself. So, and that's why in my opinion, 90% of the company fails out there because they get the process in the wrong way. So the question that I'm asking you is, I give you $1 million. You're starting a new business today. Forget about your business. Imagine that you're the startup founders. You have $1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
How much of these resources would you allocate to the product? And how much of these resources would you allocate marketing, sales, PR, and to get the product in front of people? It's just a metaphor. So our audience know how to distribute funds if they want to get a better chance.
Yeah, I would spend 95% of my money on the marketing and getting my product out there. And then the 5%.
Oh, wow, more than me.
Yeah.
I was in the ballpark of 90, 85. Wow, you said 95.
Well, I said 95 because when you gave me the million, like $950,000 would go through the marketing.
Yeah. It's absolutely.
Right.
If you cannot get an MVP with 50K, what are we talking about?
Exactly. And when you look at the tools like Uber and stuff, they were built off Excel sheets. They were just literally building it off Excel sheets in the background, making the calls, manually bringing people together, right? They didn't even actually have the software when they first did it. They were testing out the idea. So when you put it that way, for me, it's, less than 50 grand, even less. Like if I can create the base level of MVP to be like, okay, I have something out there, someone's using it, I can watch them use it. They tell me how they're using it, what's important to them, what's the feature that matters next. Then I know what to build. And it's not just for one customer. I would try to get as much feedback as possible to be like, okay, I know that 80% of my customers want this. This is the next thing that I'm going to build in the next stage, right? And build it slowly while getting your information, your message out, and taking as much information as you can in to see why people are using what you built. And then you don't use the marketing to talk about, oh, we have this feature. It's no, we solve this problem for you, right?
So I think the other question I would like to ask you is regarding we have this for our listeners and in the entrepreneur community that the first time founders they are very in love with the product. They love this product so much that they put out money, time, and energy on that product. And whether second time founders, those ones that already have a business, solid, run a business, and now they're doing a new one. Like myself, for example, I have several business during my career. Now, when you see a new business, you see in a different perspective. Now, the new business, after you're the second time founder, uh, those second time founder understand that sales and marketing uh, and get the product in front of out of people is actually more important than the product itself because the product can always be improved, can always be pivoted. Uh, but they already know when they go as a second time founder that marketing and sales, and in this podcast, most of the marketing agencies that we have interviewed, some of them they say, Harry, look, I have my business first. We exited, we sold it. But while I'm doing my business, I realized that I was very good in this sales marketing process. So I realized that after, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start to do sales marketing for all the business because they realize that when you develop this skill, uh, you can get in front of and everybody, and basically every business you can somehow make it work in a sense because the process is kind of similar. You said that all business is different, the approach is different, but the kind of process in a concept is the same. So my question to you is, what is your story? Are you were first time founder first and after you did the marketing, or why you decide to become an entrepreneur? Tell us your story.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think I've always had the entrepreneurship blood in me. Because when you look back, I started out as an engineer. But as I was an engineer, I would always do things on the side. So I was a personal trainer for some time because I really was interested in health, and then realized that, oh, you can't just work out in the gym and not fix the mind. And, I didn't get the results I wanted from my customers. So I was just like, this doesn't work. I need to help people mentally. Then two, I started a little course business where I taught people how to invest in the S&P 500 because I just learned how to invest and I wanted other people to know this stuff. And so you can always see that I was always kind of like an engineer, but I'd always do different things, right? And even at one point, I think I tried to build, didn't really launch. We did it for about a month and then we're like, this doesn't work. But we had four founders. We tried to build an app where you could find the best burger in Vancouver or you could find the best creme brulee in Vancouver. So not like how restaurants have their entire menu. It's like, no, I want to eat this thing. Where is this best thing that I can find in the town? In which restaurant? So I learned a lot along the way, right? I learned I don't want to build something with four founders. There's too many people talking. But as I was being an engineer, this one time someone told me, hey, Behdad, I know some guy making $50,000 a month in passive income, and he's doing SEO for dentists. And I was like, hold on a second. What is SEO? How is this guy making $50,000 a month in passive income? And so, funny enough, he had a $500 course. So I took this $500 course. I built websites, Google Ads, and SEO. And on the engineering side, I had spent almost 10 years learning about business. Like I worked with a lot of mid-sized businesses, 50 to 1,000 type employee range, talking to CEOs, talking to VP level and IT and building out technology roadmaps. That's the core of what I used to do. And so I learned how mid-level businesses would work in that sense. And that's where a lot of my business consulting, sales, leadership, and technology experience came from. On the marketing side, though, when I took this course, I learned how to build websites, Google Ads, SEO, and realized very quickly, Harry, I didn't like doing 80-hour websites on the weekend for a couple $1,000s. Like it was not fun and it didn't work out very well. So I started passing work off to marketing agencies. I would find business and I'd say the marketing agency can do it. And I realized very quickly most marketing agencies don't understand business and most businesses don't understand marketing. And so I thought to myself as an engineer, I was like, oh, could I be the middleman for this? Can I bridge the gap? Maybe I can find 10 marketing partners and then I'll match them to the businesses based on what they need. And as I did that, I realized they don't speak the same language. 93% of marketing agencies are not good at anything. 7% are good at 1 to 3 things. And so I essentially became this kind of marketing broker. And now you said the numbers, but it's actually 1,136 different marketing agencies and experts that I've met over the last 7 years. And I work with less than 11% in a vetted network. And so that's kind of the journey, right? Like I saw this problem of like, oh, people need websites, Google Ads, SEO. I
Wow.
don't, and it kind of built into that.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, I'm an engineer too. I got a degree in chemical engineering. Yeah. Never work as an engineer because my parents told me that I had to go to university. So I went to university, but after I gave the degree to them, they were very happy. But, you know, I'm same like you. We have the entrepreneurship blood. So eventually that emerged and the rest, sorry. However, uh, I want to ask you a question about your transition from corporate to being an entrepreneur, because a lot of people are listening this podcast and they say, wow, I wish that I have the courage that he has to start his own business and to drop the comfortable corporate life, because as an engineer, you get paid a lot of money, and these companies they make sure that it make you very comfortable to so you don't go because they want to keep the talent.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because you know when you are in your company, if somebody come and tell you, hey, you have to do this, you can tell them, look, this is not my job. This is not my job. You need to speak with somebody else. But when you are on charge, everything is a job, and they you need to fill your own calendar. It's not like you wake up uh, and go to work, which is actually, well, if you have to be at 8 at work, you have to have the discipline because you not right on time, you lose your job. Yeah? When you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, eh, there is nothing. You feel your own calendar. Yeah, look at me. I I I decided that Mondays I'm gonna be off for me. And so we take off Monday because you know Monday when everybody's working like crazy, we say, you know what, this day we relax. It's too everybody's too stressed out. What's the point to speak with anybody? Let's wait until settle down and Tuesday when they're more relaxed, we do business with the people. And it's a challenge because our team now is off on Monday because if I'm not working on our team, the team will say, look, guys, nobody works, so we all rest. How about that? And let's
Yeah.
rest a day that is super cool because on Monday, the restaurant, there is no queue. The cinema is empty. It's an amazing way. So tell us what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of the transition from corporate to entrepreneur, because we have a lot of people in corporate
Yeah.
listening to the podcast, and uh, maybe it's not for everybody.
Yeah. No,
So
it's a great question. I think the way that I went about running my business is different than most people. So the transition piece of it. So I'm an engineer. You're an engineer. We are risk averse. Most engineers are risk averse, right? We always look for the edge cases that will fail. And so the way that I went about building my business is I did it side by side of my engineering. So about 3.5 years, I was working full time as an engineer and getting promoted every year while building my business. And the way that I thought about it was, okay, if my engineering salary it's easily in the 6 figures, I'm very comfortable. So this pays for my way of life. Then any money the business makes, I'm going to reinvest it into the business. So that allowed me to just kind of build my business without actually having any financial debt or any along those lines, right? So it just meant I had to work more. So I was working, 12-hour days, 6 days a week, still working on Sundays too, but maybe a little bit less. It's a lot of work. So I was trading time instead of money, right? And my whole thing was I need to get the business to a certain level before I make the jump. And so by the time it was around 3.5 years into my business, I had 1 year of engineering salary saved up in the business. The business was also every month making, not every month, every year making the same profit that I like the profit of the business was the same amount I was making as an engineer. And so for me, at that point, it made sense. I was like, I have 1 year runway. If I make no money, it's already making more money as a sales engineer. Now it's time for me to switch over. And I also had a team. I had an assistant, I had a developer, I had a designer already within the company. So I wasn't starting from scratch. And so my transition was literally working really, really hard, both on my engineering job and my business to the point where I felt I could make that jump. That all being said, making the jump, even with that safety, was risky, right? It feels risky internally, no matter what. Because you're like, oh, I'm leaving a job that I've been at for 10 years. They're paying me $150,000 a year. I could easily retire at 55 if I continue down this path. But I'm taking a step away and going into uncertainty. And you and I both know how tough entrepreneurship can be. You have very, very big highs, you have very, very big lows. And it's the reason why I like it now is because it's a very big personal journey. It's like the more I evolve as a person, the better my businesses are.
Wow, that is an amazing answer, and this is how this is exactly how I do it. You see, because we have this engineering mind. I was working in a pub in London, okay, and you see when they were paying me 5.75, and when I'm working Monday to Sunday, and I'm spending more than I was making. And one day I took my bill and I saw rent and my expenses, and I'm saying, wow, rent is 60% of my own expenses. So if I get this problem out of the way, I think I'll be fine because the math, this thing doesn't add up. It's very simple mathematics. And so I went there and I say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start a business. I was renting the houses and renting the units separate, okay? And I will live in one of those rooms. And guess what happened? After this, next month, now I have a lot of money. I have how the rent was covered because of that operation. So I say, okay, I'm gonna keep my job, okay, and parallel, I'm gonna start to get more houses and more houses. And at some point, I said, oh, I need to learn if I'm gonna be in the rental room business. Let me find a work job that I can learn more about it. So I went and I find a job in the Hilton. All they do this is rent a room. My English was no good, so I I was room service in the Hilton. Yeah, and it's funny because it was the perfect job for me because it's the job that when you are in the lift taking the orders, there is no managers there. So I'm building my business in the lift of the Hilton. Every time that I have room service, I'm thinking, oh, the higher the better. The higher the better. I go inside the lift. Nobody, this is a service lift, so only people that work there, but the money is, they're not around. They're on the floor, so I look at everything. Um, and I learned a lot about renting rooms in the Hilton. I learned a lot about procedures, and I was having the same life like you, 12 hours, 14 hours every day, working in both parallel, very intense. Uh, but I'm seeing how the life of entrepreneurs look like and how the life of the the job looks like. And after I was doing the parallel same like you did, one day I it was to a point that I acquired like 7 houses, and every month I have 2 rooms empty because I didn't have enough time. I'm doing the Hilton thing, and then I'm renting the rooms, and every month number one, 2 rooms empty. 2 rooms empty is like £1,000. Next month number two, 2 rooms empty. Again, £1,000. And that's how much I actually got paid the Hilton, over £1,000. So if you know what, I think that if I don't go to work tomorrow and I have the full day, I think that in one day I can rent these 2 rooms and And that's it. What's the point then to go to work 40 hours per week? That was 18 years ago, and I haven't looked back since then. I have been in a very interesting role out there. Yeah, I tend to have restaurants. I love 200,000 pounds. I have this big, the other business. Internationally speaking, has been a very interesting journey. I love it, and I would change it for anything because I love to be an entrepreneur. And uh, however, the dynamic is different. So one, let's talk about your engineering background and problem solving skills because we go to university. Okay, when I was in university, especially didn't want I want to be an entrepreneur. My parents want to go to have the degree. Okay, so I'm inside the university seeing all these mathematical problems, chemical problems, 5 years solving problem. I'm thinking, wow, I'm not gonna use this ever in my life. What a waste of time. But I realized that they were training me for 5 years how to solve problems. They were not real problems, they were theoretical problems, they were mathematical problems, they were chemistry problems. So guess what happened? When I start my first business and I have a problem, I didn't freak out. I say, okay, I have a problem. This is I know that we can have different solutions. I know that this is the approach. I knew how to deal with problems, and I know how to because I've been 5 years solving them, all of them, and trying to. So my brain somehow get the capacity to solve problems that I think other entrepreneurs need to develop this skill. So, do you think that your engineering background has helped you in your career as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's the same thing. We all went to school to learn to solve problems. That's why you see most engineers don't even end up in engineering careers. They end up in different ones, which is like solving hard problems. Because that's how they train you in your brain, right? Here's a problem, solve it, and you spent nights trying to figure it out, and all of a sudden you figured it out. You're like, oh, okay, I can do this. I've always been a problem solver, regardless of if it's in business or in personal life. When people come to me with problems, my brain goes, how do I solve this for you? And so yeah, it's definitely been a quite a help. That training, that way of thinking is been very, very useful into how I do things.
And actually, the way that you conduct in your business, you actually solving a problem. Because we talk a lot about this in this podcast. You see that entrepreneurs, okay, they say, okay, I need a marketing agency, and what they do, they go to Facebook, they go to social media, and then you find this guy with a Ferrari, with a big house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your marketing guy. I'm gonna make it happen for you. By the way, I'm the big deal, so you have to pay me a lot of money. And then what happened is people go there, spend a lot of money, sometimes get a very little value, and then they say, you know what, marketing agency doesn't work. That doesn't, and they lost trust, and then it's difficult because the trial and error is expensive. I've done it myself. I know how expensive it is, and uh, by not working with the right vetted people, it's a huge challenge. And especially when you start in the company and your little funds that you have, you don't use them effectively. It's like send you back like 1 year, 2 years. Yeah, I've done this mistake, so I'm telling you because I've done it myself. Yeah, look, tell you a story. We had a restaurant in Brick Lane in London, and an agency came and told me, Larry, we're gonna do something for you amazing. We're gonna put an ad in the Liverpool Street metro station in London. And I'm like, wow, the ad of my restaurant is gonna be in the Liverpool Street metro station in London. It's gonna be a lot of people passing there. So my restaurant is gonna be full. And the guy said, look, it's this amount of money you have to pay for 2 years. The ad will go there. And I was so excited about it. We put the ad there. You know how many clients came to a restaurant out of this ad in Liverpool Street?
Two.
Zero.
Well,
Zero. And after the first month, of course, I already signed the contract, everything. After month number two, I said, man, I need to go to the station to see what's wrong with my ad. I said, these people forgot my address or my phone number. What's wrong with these people? What they did it wrong. So I went to Liverpool Street, of course, and it was true. Harry Spanish Tapa, my restaurant was advertised there, but it was in a hallway where everybody walks so fast so they cannot miss the train. That is impossible. Impossible that someone would stop to see my ad. You know, it's not the same when you put it, if you put an ad in a place that you're waiting for the train, of course, people have time to see it.
Yeah.
But when they put it in the train station, they put it in a hallway that it doesn't matter in the whole day, everybody walks so fast in front of that screen. It's a walking corridor, basically. So it was no chance. So that was a very expensive lesson for me. Like I said, you know, when I learned the stuff, the other I did another one very funny as well when it comes to marketing. You know, when you don't know what you're doing, that's why I'm explaining how trial and error is expensive. Okay. I also once I said, okay, I'm gonna put 20,000 flyers about buy one and get one free for my restaurant, right? You know what happened? I forgot to put the expire date. And the people that distributed the flyers, they leave a lot of bunch in the pub around the corner, everywhere. And those guys that they knew the restaurant, they love the food. Because usually the pub close and that they go hungry, so the restaurant was right the corner. Especially and they love this Spanish sauce. You know, the British they love Spanish too. But they grab a bunch of them and they were showing up to a restaurant for a year. I said, guys, you don't lose those papers. What's wrong with you? You stay up these flyers, and man, you know, it's what it is. So they were buying buy one get one free or until they run out of these flyers. That's was not a very expensive marketing cost because you know if I put even if I expire in 3 months or in six, they will get so. Actually, when they run out of flyers, they keep coming to a restaurant.
Yeah.
They love the food, which I just make the cheap. I just forgot one tiny in 20,000 flyers, one tiny details just to put the offer expires.
Yeah.
So the trial and error is expensive. So your business, which is vetting those agencies, what message do you have for the entrepreneurs out there that without knowing they
Yeah.
hire fast the marketing agency and then we have studies that they are that it didn't work and things like this. So what what are your message for young entrepreneurs, startup founders, small business owner, medium size, large, how they should be vetting or hiring the agencies in your opinion?
Yeah. So I think most entrepreneurs don't know that like 90% of marketing agencies are good at nothing. So when you look at numbers like that, most businesses, when they're looking for a marketing agency, they'll talk to one, two, maybe three marketing agencies before they hire someone. And like you said, they go on Facebook or they're asking their friends for a referral. And so they end up with a marketing agency that's not very good. And what ends up happening with that is like, let's say you hire a marketing agency. It takes them 3 to 6 months to ramp up, learn your business, start running ads, doing SEO, whatever it is. Then somewhere between 3 to 6 months, you realize, oh, they're not very good. So then you spent thousands of dollars, tons of time, and you fire them. Now, what do you have to go do next? Find another marketing agency. And that takes 3 to 6 months. Well, most business owners don't realize it takes 3 to 5 tries before they find even one marketing agency that they like on average. And so that's almost like 2 years of wasted time trying to find a good partner. And that's the problem that I ended up looking at solving because I was like, look, businesses have less than a 5% chance of finding a good marketing agency. At least when they're using me, it's a 70% chance. The chance is much higher. And because I've vetted so many, I can tell these red flags, right? Like if a marketing agency hasn't been around for 5 years, I typically won't even consider them in my network, right? It takes time for them to build their business, understand SOPs, hire people, really figure out what they're good at, right? Most don't. Plus, I know that there's different sizes of marketing agencies and how they apply. And then also based on the businesses, right? So if you're a business doing 6 figures, you're going to hire a way different marketing agency than if you're a business that's 7 figures, 8 figures. As your business grows, there's different levels of marketing agencies, and I believe there's 5 levels of them. that businesses need to be aware of when they're hiring, right? So these are just some of the things that people need to think about when hiring a marketing agency, because it's a very expensive mistake. A lot of people can't make the mistake multiple times. And so having someone that's a marketing broker who has a wider network than you really helps solve that problem and reduce the time it takes to really find a good partner to move you forward.
So if someone is in love with this conversation, how people can find you, how this process works?
Yeah, so essentially you go to my website, so www.cjammarketing.com, so CJAM. You would then reach out via there if you want to have a conversation. I jump on a call. My whole thing is around understanding your business, where it's at, what resources you have, and then building out a strategy to say, this is how I would go about your marketing. And if all that looks good, you would hire me. I'd go find the partners. You get to vet all of them, and then you hire the ones that you like. That's essentially how it works. And I've helped
Yeah.
customers of all types.
Yeah, it's like an insurance policy. You have the
Exactly.
insurance, yeah. So, and I understand 100% what you describe because it happened to me. You know, like for example, I understand that I should know that I had to put the expiry date, but you know who should know better? The marketing agency I was working with. How
Yeah.
come you guys did the flyer? You sent it to me. You know what I mean? Uh, you forgot that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It
I'll
should be
pay
turned
for
off.
it, and I pay the price. You know what I mean? And the same thing, exactly like you said, and same agency that sold me these ads. You know, they didn't have any clue about business because if they have any clue about business, they will never send me this thing. They will know that doesn't work. That it was a huge investment for the type of business. You know, if you're gonna put advertise a movie of Netflix or a big company, yeah, put it whatever you want. It doesn't matter because you know they have big budgets and they need exposure anyway. But for a small business to take all these huge investment and to put it in a place that it doesn't work, it's actually um, it was tough. This overhead, it was expensive, and I had to
Yeah.
pay the rent of the restaurant, the bills, and everything, food costs, and on top of this marketing strategy brought me down. Hill, you know, because you know what was the marketing strategy that works? I used to put in a Spanish omelette, making a Spanish omelette and put it outside the restaurant, cut it in small pieces, and the people only one omelette, and then we go outside the restaurant. The people were trying.
Yeah.
By the time that the omelette finished, I looked the restaurant, I was always full
Yeah.
in lunch time. You see, you
Keep
know
it
how much
simple,
it cost me.
simple.
Yeah, you know how much it costs an omelette and a Spanish omelette. Let me give you a perspective. For ten
$1.
pounds back in the day, for £10, I'm telling you, a long time ago when I was the restaurant. Uh, I think 16 years ago, 14, 16 years ago. Back in the day, for £10, they would give me one big sack of potatoes. For another £10, they give me a big sack of onion. And for another £10, they give me 10 cartons of eggs, of 30 eggs.
Wow.
So, and that's all you need to do the thing, and a little bit of oil. Yeah. So
Yeah.
imagine my marketing cost, the cost of me to attracting the client. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much it was the Spanish omelette guy. Yeah. If I think that is with electricity and everything, the chef and everything, it's about £1, 150, and was bringing me. Oh, that's it. The restaurant was empty. Okay, take one omelette out. You look back, full. And
That's a great marketing
so
strategy.
so and I have to suffer with all this. So I agree 100% with what you're sharing. You're totally right that, and we don't know as entrepreneurs. We don't know about marketing. Even when I started my first business, I didn't even know what marketing was. How
Mhm.
can I know what marketing was? You know, I was taking these houses and renting these rooms. And I remember it was a website, and it was Gumtree, and we knew that we put the room there in Gumtree, we were renting like that. And then we would put the photo very nice and we would write the ad very good because we wanted to rent the room. And I think 4 years down the line, I realized that that was a marketing strategy and that was my marketing because I didn't even know what that means. because
Yeah.
I become an entrepreneur by accident. I want to save money out of my rent, then I start to do it, then I'm making some money, then I'm doing more, and then you're making profit, and then you keep scaling, but you don't even know concepts. I don't have an entrepreneur background. My parents are teachers, so that's why they told me to go to university and to be a good employee, and to go to university, get your degree, find a good job. So
Yes.
when I thought that I'm in London, working as a waiter, they give me a heart attack. They're saying like, "Why are you doing that? You're an engineer. You study. Why you don't look for a work as an engineer? Why you doing this?" I said, "Look, I'm preparing and learning English because if I want to be an entrepreneur, I need to speak English and Spanish." And listen carefully, I was probably the only person in the world that owned an English school without even speaking English.
That's funny.
In London, I have an English school. I didn't speak English at all. Very little, and then I dealing with the teacher. Said, "You guys, we're gonna shut this for the lessons, and everybody gonna learn English. Amazing." I'm thinking I should be going in my own class or my own school. So,
That's funny.
last word. What's the last message for entrepreneurs in order to get to $1 million to product market fit?
My last word is just find something that you really are passionate about or you enjoy a problem that you want to solve and just go at it, keep iterating, use an engineering mindset. Because the engineering mindset is always, okay, this didn't work. Okay, how do I iterate on this so that it can work? And just kind of move forward from that front. And know that business, whatever time frame you give it, multiply that time frame by 2, 3, 4, because it's going to take you longer to get there. And things are moving really, really fast, which means that there's a lot of opportunity in today's world for anyone that wants to take the chaos, add energy to it, and provide solutions for businesses that they're interested in.
Thank you so much for being at the podcast. And for all of you following the Unstoppable podcast, see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneurs like Behdad break the wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.